I have a great comment that I would like to highlight in this video by our beautiful Patricia Crosby 5053. Patricia is very wise in that she rightly questions whether the world is ready for advanced extraterrestrial technology, especially something as powerful as quantum energy. I did a lot of research on this, and it all really depends on where we're at as a civilization. I've said this before, but somehow there are many that don't get the importance of this evolutionary change. Right now, we're a mixed bag. On one hand, we've got incredible technological advancements. Quantum computing is becoming a reality, AI is exploding, and we're exploring space more than ever. On the other hand, we're still wrestling with some pretty basic issues, including geopolitical tensions, resource inequality, and a tendency to weaponize anything shiny and new. Advanced extraterrestrial technology, especially quantum energy, which is a limitless power source and a reality-bending tool, could either catapult us forward or amplify our chaos. I believe that we need a few big shifts to prepare and safeguard such technology, and in this video, we will explore what needs to occur for Earth to become a quantum world utilizing frill energy in unimaginable ways. Frill energy has many different names, including qi in Chinese traditions, qi, prana in Indian practices like yoga, life force, vital energy, or even subtle energy. This energy is described as a universal, flowing essence that permeates living things and the cosmos itself. It's not your standard physics fair. There are no volts or joules here. It is more of an elusive bioenergetic current that practitioners can feel and direct to specific areas. Frill is tied to quantum fields and extraterrestrial technology. It is no longer theory but a scientific fact, and our understanding of this powerful energy is still in its infancy. So let's take a look and see what it is actually going to take of Earth's global citizens to make extraterrestrial technology a reality on Earth. Patricia always puts so much thought into her posts, and her comments are always so enlightening. She has been a great inspiration to me, and I am grateful to her and the many others who have propelled this YouTube community to nearly 100,000 subscribers. In a nutshell, Patricia's question moves beyond the notion of receiving a shiny penny and into the realm of earning that prosperity. Please help me out by telling me your thoughts so that I can create content, not only the content that you need to know, but that creates questions in this rapidly changing world that promises to propel us into the next level of mankind's evolution. Don't forget to like the videos, and above all, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. And if you would like to help me with the cost of the channel, I am always so grateful to receive super thanks, which are available under the 3 dots below the video. So let's look at the very real concerns of Patricia Crosby 5053.
Watching Star Trek was enjoyable looking into the future. Moving into the future is another thing for sure. Knowing that evil will always exist, it's frightening too. So many people and universities working on parts of this technology. It's not easy for sure. It begs the question, do we really want the technology or need the technology? Who and why is it serving? Like anything new, technology can be manipulated for wrong or good. Who decides these complex questions? I'm always afraid once it's out of the bottle, you can't squeeze it back in. Who are the wise men and women deciding this for the whole universe that it can affect? Good or bad? As much as it might be needed, it certainly needs a slow rollout. Trust, after all we've been through, is a must. Just my thought, but maybe the medbeds is a start. Knowing they help and not hurt. They might be one technology acceptable to most people. Also, is this technology compatible with the balance of God's world? Where are we entering? There's so much to absorb, understand, and see the true long-run application. It's not an easy vote, even if we get one. We need some very wise people here before these technologies get released. Excellent podcast. Please address more in the future. Best wishes as always.
Well, I aim to please Patricia, so we're going to look into this a little further because I think it's more important that most think for our evolution into the next phase of planet Earth. It's strange that I find myself here, and I've never watched a full episode of Star Trek, which I have since learned was Federation soft disclosure. I love the Jetsons, and even their technologies are coming true. I totally agree with Patricia that a slow roll is necessary. I wish I could convince our wonderful Mac of this. Like so many, he believes that Trump has some magic wand that is going to make this all happen in a world that remains full of greed and hate. We are playing with some pretty heavy stuff that we know very little about. Most people don't even understand how their smartphone works, let alone quantum mechanics. We need a massive push in education so society can handle, regulate, and not misuse something this advanced. It's kind of giving a nuclear bomb to a child and letting them play with it, unsupervised. Does any rational person believe that this would be a smart move? It's my understanding that these technologies are not just being given to us like a parent gives a Game Boy to their child. There are agreements that have been made, and they are likely performance-based, where certain technology is released when certain milestones or markers are met by us. We are in momentous times, and so many just expect an overnight transition. At the core of all of this technology is the evolution of mankind. I often wonder if people can even comprehend the gift that we find ourselves being given. Our responsibility as a civilization must not be trivialized. There is no way we would give dangerous technology to a child who doesn't understand it. This is the same reason we don't let a 10-year-old drive a car. It is a responsibility that is entrusted to us that comes with maturity. It is a conscientiousness and a reliability that we are lacking as a collective. Human being scientists, engineers, physicists, and others must learn how to develop, execute, and safeguard the technology. The good news is that this has been secretly going on for years in underground military facilities, in cooperation with benevolent humanoid extraterrestrials. That's right, numerous declassified records and whistleblower testimonies exist, revealing that we have secretly been mentored, working side by side to assist us in this understanding. I get how anxious people are for the life-altering medbeds. I really do. Everyone wants to feel better. Even those that have terribly abused their bodies want a second chance, and hopefully they will get one when they are ready. Regarding the medbeds, I have heard from numerous sources that the stockpile of beds exist. However, there are contradictory narratives regarding where these stockpiles are being stored. Speculation is rife, but the fact is that we shouldn't be focusing on where the beds are, but what we can do to expedite their arrival. Additional developments are going to come out when the time and money is put out by some corporation or university to master the physics. I don't know how this is going to be accomplished yet, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. First, how do we remove the financial incentive to keep these powerful technologies from misuse? That brings us to weaponization. Technology has the capability of being used against us. And when we become spacefaring, how do we stop the technology from being used against the rest of the universe? It is scary, but it is our evolution. It is time, and I don't believe that it's up for debate. This is the time to get off the bench and become the change that we wish to see. It's all or nothing here, guys. The world is changing, and if it is your path, you can experience true internal joy and meaning in your life. At this point, I want to share a comment by another valued community member. at EM Sully 9010, who stated that
We will not have another chance. The Hopi prophecy of the man in the red hat states that if he loses, the Dark King will win and only a few will ascend. Get on the Trump train or join forces with the Dark King. You have to join a side. There is no standing on the sidelines. The stakes are too high.
Thank you, Sully. Clearly, we have one choice, or we can continue chasing financial excess and egocentric acceptance. Don't misunderstand, prosperity is wonderful, but it's how you define it. Do you find prosperity with the fanciest car on the street, or with a life filled with purpose and experiences? Thousands of civilizations have gone through this, and it would be wise for us to stop thinking that we know more than those who have gone before us. In reality, we know very little. Danny Henderson, with her wonderful wit, referred to us as the dumb asses of the universe. In fact, there are reportedly less evolved civilizations, but she's right. We're not the brightest stars in the sky. It would be very dangerous for us to try to go it alone, and as I mentioned, it would violate agreements that have been made, and I suspect we won't be given this opportunity again for a long time if we renege on them. We must respect the process of evolution and be thankful that we are being given this opportunity. I do trust and respect the process, but I'm not in pain or some terminal situation, so I also understand the impatience. This reminds me of the movie Cocoon, where nursing home patients wanted healing so bad that they all jumped into the extraterrestrial energy pool at once and destroyed it. The analogies used in Disclosure are so creative. Don't mess this up, guys. We're almost there. Regarding the who is in control, I don't think it's Trump. I think the Galactic Federation will determine the release of the Medbeds, and perhaps the other technologies will undergo a guided but natural process of evolution. I have heard the year 2030 as being prominent in many circles. I've even heard that 2030 is one of 3 years that was observed during remote viewing as being a pivotal time in history. Patricia has valid concerns about whether the technology is consistent with the balance of God. Let's look at this concern that advanced technology such as medbeds, quantum energy, or whatever they've got, is not aligned with God. This occurs because we feel it might outpace our moral compass or mess with what's sacred. Some may see AI, genetic engineering, or ET gadgets as playing God, somehow tampering with creation in ways that feel unnatural or hubristic. We must maintain a spiritual connection. Religions often frame life's struggles, such as sickness and mortality, as part of God's plan. Instant fixes could feel like cheating that script. It seems that a large portion of these technologies rely on bioenergy, frill, chi, whatever you call it. It goes by many names, but it is the energy of God that gives us life. These technologies tap into the limitless, universal energy that courses throughout everything. It is an endless wellspring if you've got the technology and know how to harness it. For this reason, I have always seen the universal energy as consistent or of God. It's the nature of man, not the technology, that is the threat. We are often our own enemy. Our moral compass needs recalibrating, as this technology can reshape reality or power entire planets. We'd have to prioritize long-term survival over short-term greed. Historically, we're not great at that. There must have a unified intent. Right now, nations and groups would likely fight over who controls this technology. For this reason, a global framework might be necessary to manage it without sparking World War III. Think of something like a beefed-up UN that is actually effective and not corrupted. We also need to ditch the shoot first, ask questions later vibe. Cultural readiness for contact without panic or worship is critical. I did a video on this and will link it. I believe the December drone events were a measure of our readiness, and what happened? People shot them down and sent up their drones to confront them. This is where an announcement by President Trump will assist in acceptance, but first, he must gain trust in the world. What we know is that the plan has existed since before 2017. We've heard this many times, but nobody has really told us what this plan might look like. So let's take a look at what needs to be done to receive this technology. Medbeds could amplify our potential, but only if we're not still acting like tribal apes with shiny toys. Until this time, it simply can't happen. Preparing humans for advanced extraterrestrial technologies involves cultivating internal qualities that enable us to responsibly handle, adapt to, and integrate such capabilities into our societies and individual lives. We must develop an ability to adapt, and we must be open-minded. We must develop ethical maturity. Developing emotional resilience will prevent panic or irrational rejection of the new. Collaborative intelligence will need to be learned in this collective effort to decipher or operate far beyond any single mind or nation. I'm going to elaborate just a bit on the next one. We must find self-awareness and humility. This is very difficult for a population that defines itself by its ego and the need to be better than others. It's important for us to acknowledge our ignorance and seek guidance from each other or from higher beings, which is what is being done, and we must respect and applaud that wisdom. We must avoid anthropocentric arrogance, which is the assumption that humans are the central or most important entities in the universe. This is the opposite of colonial mindsets that have assumed dominance over us. Lastly, we must develop long-term thinking. How can we do this in a world where everybody wants everything and they want it now? Technologies with cosmic implications operate on timescales beyond the human lifespan. The way to approach a network that connects us to distant stars is done through selfless planning for generations and resisting instant gratification. Let's look at some specifics. There will be an education component about quantum healing. We must fund science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to make it accessible and practical. Maybe free online courses like Intro to Quantum Healing or gamified apps that teach energy concepts. We need a generation fluent in this stuff, not just a handful of experts. Medbeds will end disease, but only if we prioritize universal good over profit. The plan likely includes a shift of cultural narratives toward collective well-being. Media, leaders, and influencers could push health as a right, not a commodity. Pilot programs like Universal Basic Income of Nisara Gasara like initiatives could ease the transition so we're not clinging to old systems. And infrastructure to support the technology is critical. We must invest in a resilient, decentralized infrastructure of some sort, perhaps solar grids or quantum-resistant cybersecurity. We will need to train a global workforce, including medbed techs, to maintain and protect them. There must be a mindset shift from skepticism to responsibility. People oscillate between dismissing medbeds as crazy and blindly trusting that they'll save us. Neither works. We'd need a mature approach of critical thinking plus openness to wield this responsibly. Efforts to prepare the consciousness have been underway for years. We need to encourage dialogue, not dogma. Plus, we'd need to ditch savior complexes. No technology is going to fix us if we don't fix ourselves. Lastly, Safeguards must be established to prevent the dark side from altering the technology for nefarious reasons. Imagine medbeds being hacked to harm instead of heal or used to create invincible soldiers. We'd need ironclad controls, maybe AI-monitored systems or multi-key activation so no one group can abuse them. We must develop ethical AI with redundant safety protocols now, testing them on existing technology. International laws banning weaponization are a must, though enforcing them could be tricky. That's where the mindset shift and ethical evolution comes into play. So Patricia pinned it down quite well in her assessment. Thankfully, it appears that the Alliance has a well-thought-out plan for our transition into technological ascendancy, with Nasara Gasara, Starlink's satellite network, SpaceX, and the many executive orders and initiatives that have been promised. The plan appears sound. Patricia is approaching the technology with realistic expectations rather than naivety or ignorance. Everything can't be spoon-fed to us, especially at this stage of our awakening. We must seek answers, and we will find them. So I'm going to end this video with the thoughts of many patriots who have been telling us this for years. We must trust the plan and realize that where we go one, we go all.